Hi guys, this is Lada from astrolada.com here with your weekly horoscope for the week of the 5th to the 11th of February. And I call this weekly horoscope the return of love because a very unique astrological event is happening this week. Venus is becoming visible again, and this in the role of being reborn in the role of Venus Aphrodite, the planet, the goddess of love. And we're going to talk about how this is going to influence each sign and whom particular will feel it the strongest. But I want you to watch the whole video because I would explain the energy behind that. And if you just skip to your sign, which will be probably 1 minute I'm talking about it, you'll miss so much information that can give you clues as to what's happening around you. This is very good news. Venus is reborn as the goddess of love just once every 19 months. So it's a rare astrological event that I want you to tap in really well into and to use these energies to the best of your abilities because it will be another 19 months before this happens. And before I start, I want to make a quick announcement. Do come and join us for a 7-hour workshop on Sunday. And if you miss it, you can just watch the recording after that with me and the scholar in astrology of ancient astrology, Rumen Kolev, who talks about exactly this kind of things, ancient astrology that I'm going to be talking today about because Venus becoming visible and reborn as goddess Aphrodite is ancient astrology. And we're going to be talking about the recently translated, he's going to be teaching a recently translated Hermes text. He was one of the first creators of astrology. Hermes was an Egyptian semi-god, who was receiving direct information from the universe and was created astrology. And this is very ancient text that talks about the map of the soul. What is your spirit animal? There are 49 animals. Some people can have one predominant, others can have 4 or 5 animals. And what is your strategy for success according to that animal and who you are compatible with according to that animal? It's very simple way to see this, and you don't even need to know much astrology. But you'll be diving into secrets that will last for 3,000–4,000 years. These are texts that have not been translated for thousands of years and been used. So astrological techniques no one will know. So please do join me and Rumen Kolev. I'll be just the moderator. But I can't wait to learn that and how to incorporate this ancient knowledge. Anyway, let's talk now about Venus and the planet of love, the planet of money being reborn this week. And we did a whole video with Krasia Tasio, who is also Babylonian astrology yesterday, but there were sound problems. You can still watch it, her voice, you can hear it very well, but mine goes in and out, in and out. There was some echo. So I really needed to make this video. For those of you who were saying, we want this information, Lada, make another video and I'll do predictions for the 12 signs. Okay, so this is an ancient method, guys. Modern astrologers don't pay attention to when a planet becomes visible or not visible. We just pay attention when planets become retrograde or direct. But actually, ancient astrology was much more simpler and more effective because when a planet is, and Venus has been invisible for the last 2 months, the whole December, the whole January, and anyone who is under the influence of Venus has been more on a law. You know, actually, the ancient Greeks had a myth about when Venus becomes invisible, the myth of Persephone, when she's abducted in the underworld and she's kind of being raped there and done some horrible stuff there. But she goes within, she introspects, she's kind of prepares to be reborn, and also she's, to be reborn again. And when she's released from the underworld, this is when Venus starts becoming, she's far away, she starts moving away from the sun, it means, so she starts to become visible. And Venus becomes visible this week, which happens, around the 7th for the States and maybe 2–3 days later for Europe and the rest of the world. But a week before, according to ancient astrology, and a week after of the heliacal rising of a planet, this is how it's called, a planet becoming visible after being too close to the solar rays, to the sun, because when it's too close to the sun, of course, we can't see it. The sun burns everything. Then the planet gets reborn again with new agenda, with new ideas, ready to allow new manifestations in our life, renewed, more powerful, up to in the next level manifestation. And Venus, of course, rules love, relationships, rules agreements of any sorts, rules money as well. So this is fantastic news. But Venus gets reborn twice in this 19-month period. Once as a morning star, right after its retrograde period. And then it has masculine quality. She's Athena Pallas then. There was even a different divinity for her. And she's a masculine entity. She's much more adventurous, much more lustful, sexually, taking, let's say, how do I say, taking more risk, so to speak, and artistically and creatively, and much more feisty. The feminine qualities are much more feisty, and people are willing to do much more risky moves in relationships, you know. But that will happen for us after November 2018, that Venus is reborn in a masculine role. Now she's being reborn till October, so we have quite a few months, like 6-7 months, 7-8 months actually, that we're gonna have Venus as a feminine, in its most feminine form, reborn as an evening star. So basically you start being, Venus becomes visible as an evening star. For 2 months she was invisible, she was too close to the sun. Venus was Persephone, she was dead, she was in the underworld, she was with the god Hades, you know, basically she was too close to the sun, so she was getting a new program for the next, you know, for the next phase of Venusian activities. So kind of almost like internalizing Venusian things, learning from our lessons, licking our wounds in a sense. But things were not manifesting so easily in regards to outer Venusian things, which is relationship, which is agreement, which is understanding between people, which is compromise. And Venus rules ease. Venus is the planet of facilitation, of easing any process, making it more enjoyable, more pleasant. And when it's invisible, what does it mean? Well, those qualities are not easy to come around us. They're not, she's not shining her light on the earth. She's overpowered by the sun. She's being instructed on her new lessons. So she's kind of retreats from the world to go in the school of the king, the sun, you know, to be taught how to, you know, for the next phase. And while it was invisible, I don't know if you noticed for the last 2 months, though, people were much less likely to compromise. People were much more willing to attack each other because Venus is not there. Venus is forgiving, compromising. People were, especially women, became a bit more intense, a bit less happy, because Venus rules all women generally, especially younger women, women who are, you know, attractive women, but any woman that still wants to have relationship, that still wants to be beautiful, that still wants to, you know, even if you're in the 50s, 60s, now I believe women before become the moon once they have children, but nowadays women want to stay beautiful, want to be sexually attractive, and to be in relationship till 50, 60, 70 years, you know. So even a 60, 70-year-old woman can represent Venus powerfully. So generally women, you know, unless you're very much into your maternal role now, like I am, you become the moon. But also all people that who are going to affect that, so women generally, but also everyone will feel it in a different area of their life, because Venus will become visible and will rise in the sign of Virgo and in the sign of Aquarius, and everyone has Aquarius somewhere in their horoscope. For some of you, it might be your relationships that Aquarius rules. For some of you, your career. So Venus will facilitate things, make them easier there. For some of you, might be your health. So we'll speak about each sign. Bear with me just a little bit longer. It's very interesting what I'm saying. At least I find it interesting. I'm fascinated with astrology. I've been forbidden to do videos till I give birth. I get out of breath. I feel bad the whole day after that. My whole belly contracts, and like after this video of 30-40 minutes, I'll be on bed all day. But I can't help it, and I want to do it. And there's no break for self-employed people either. But maybe you've noticed that in the last 2 months, women were generally around the world, there was less agreement. People were attacking a bit more each other. Of course, there was a lot of energy in Scorpio there with Mars, and, you know, making people more biting. But it was just like, and women would feel more frustrated. Sometimes even people would have more problems financially when Venus becomes invisible. Less manifestations of luxuries, of pleasure. Or if they come with some frustration. They come with some kind of something lacking and missing. And now Venus becomes visible, so something in regards to money, something in regards to wealth, in regards to relationship as well, will improve in your life, in the life of everyone, in different areas of their life. But you start seeing that people are more agreeable. There might be the solution over the next week or so of some conflict that you've had that people were not easing on. People becoming more forgiving with each other, becoming more compromising, willing to, and also Venus rules contracts and agreements generally. So there will be possibly speeding up and some positive development in regards to such matters of contracts, partnerships, business or personal partnerships. And women will start feeling more attractive again. They'll start feeling happier within. They no longer combust. When Venus is invisible, we call her combust. They're no longer in the underworld there with Hades. They're coming out resplendent, starting to shine, as Venus is becoming an evening star. And the evening Venus is much more feminine. She rules relationships. She rules loving relationships. She rules giving. She rules giving out of love, and she rules the more unconditional side of love. While the Venus as a morning star rules the most selfish one. And of course, we need to have selfish one to go after the things that are good for us, that we want, that we enjoy, of course. But when it becomes evening star, it's kind of during the period while it was invisible, we've incorporated whatever qualities Venus has brought us while it was a morning star. And whatever goodness it has brought us. And now we're willing, and we have the capacity over the next 7-8 months to spread it to others, to be more gracious, just like when Persephone comes out from the underground, she brings spring to the earth. Yes, she was raped there. She was made to be with Hades and whatever horrendous thing. So we had our own inner, for 2 months as women and humans overall, our own inner mini, I wouldn't say mini hell, but mini kind of emotional kind of what is it called? Like something that is fermenting within in the soul. And now we can come out and start like the spring to bring out the gifts of Venus to others. And actually giving, because Venus as a evening star is more giving than taking, is known to bring more happiness, is known to bring more joy. The more you give, the more the universe gives you back and makes you. And you're not going to want to give from yourself, like love, kindness, forgiveness, because you want to receive something. You just feel more graceful. You just feel more loving. And out of this natural givingness, the universe starts giving you back. Because when you do it with the thinking of, oh, what am I going to get? It doesn't work this way, you know. But naturally, we just become, I would compare it, I don't know, my alcoholic mind, but when Venus becomes visible, it's like after the first couple of drinks you've had, when you kind of become mellow and loving and you want to call everyone and, hey, you know, it's kind of like you're willing to work with others, you're willing to compromise, you're more social, you're more loving, more giving, you know. So this is kind of, Venus blocks the access to the more negative feelings when it starts becoming visible. So this is how you're going to start feeling, hopefully, from this week a bit more and more. And especially people that are under the rulership of Venus. As I said, most women are. Also, even if you're someone who is not like too much into femininity and makeup and stuff, you just start feeling more loving, more kind, more giving, with your talents, with your love, with your, you know, humanness overall, with your heart. And as I said, this will be a much better period for relationship over the next 8 months. Because Venus is the goddess Aphrodite now when it's reborn. So relationships started now, relationship built upon or taken to the next level, starting even, I think, something very important over the next 2 weeks. A lot of marriages can happen, or engagements, or a lot of important next step in your relationship. So business contract or agreement with someone, or collaboration with someone can take a better manifestation, a better level of fulfillment in your life. But if you get, you know, people that get married over the next 2 weeks, fantastic time, unless it's on the solar eclipse, you know, 2-3 days before and after, don't do that, which is on the 15th, I think. But otherwise, you know, and all this phase of Venus Aphrodite till around October, it means that it's going to be Relationships are much more gentle, loving, giving rather than selfish and taking back. Relationships and partnerships become more understanding, more kinder. And not only that, but the whole phase of being, and any kind of relationship started now or deepened, they'll tend to be more this kind of more unconditional, loving Venusian feminine side of Venus that it has. Might not be as adventurous and crazy and wild, which is the Venus morning star phase if you meet someone, but it's definitely more soulful, you know, more feminine in nature, kinder. But Venus becomes visible in Aquarius, so I need to mention that as well. So Venus is reborn, is returning in its power and resplendence in the sign of Aquarius. So spring in our love life, in our sense of love towards ourselves, towards others, in our self-worth, comes through Aquarius for the next 8 months. Because where something is born, it carries that energy. Even though Venus will move into Pisces after that, Aries and the other signs, it will still carry this whole phase of Venus reborn till October, until it turns retrograde, will be under the influence of Aquarius. What does it mean? Adding to the loving qualities of Venus will be the Aquarius qualities, which means that especially Venus will be very beneficial for the next months and these 2 weeks now for understanding between larger groups of people, for positive developments between large groups of people, or more kindness and more charitableness and more, you know, more positive manifestation through some kind of causes, because Aquarius rules causes. You see again how this theme of nobleness and theme of giving more to others comes, because Aquarius is a sign of relationships and love, but it's more universal love. So Venus will have even higher qualities here. Venus in Aquarius, it wants to give to the, you know, for causes, wants to contribute to the knowledge of the whole society, wants to uplift the whole society. So people will possibly also become more involved with contributing to causes, charitable causes, causes that help women, maybe, you know. Aquarius rules such high-minded ideological things. So anyone who is also, in your approach to relationship, you'll be more impartial. Aquarius is a very impartial sign that looks from kind of a bit higher perspective, from the mind, rather than just getting boggled in feelings, and is very fair sign, I would say. So relationships will be more on the friendly side. So also relationships, marriages started now and over the next 7-8 months while Venus is in that phase, will have a much more Aquarian quality to them, which means relationships will be based much more on mutual goals, because Aquarius rules having a mutual goal together with someone, goals and wishes and dreams, rather than just on sexual passions. It doesn't mean there will be no passion on sexuality. Venus, evening star, is gentle, it's loving, it will be there. But the strength of those relationships or business partnerships now that are happening, and especially in the next 2 weeks, but after that for 6-7 months, will be that they have a common goal, a common vision, which is Aquarius, for contributing and bringing more. Aquarius rules economic and social gains to both sides of the business partnerships or the marriage partnership or the relationships. So maybe now you can meet someone that you have mutual goals to create family with, or that you have mutual goals to create business with, or that you have that you can collaborate for some kind of gainful activities together. So business relationships that can be brought up to the marketplace, because the 11th house, Aquarius is also a very business sign. If you don't know that, because it's the sign of gains, it's the sign of, you know, socioeconomic goals that we have. And Venus will grace our socioeconomic goals with more facility, with ease, with smoothness over the next 6 months. pursuing such goals, and will bring us some help from someone else in regards to such matters, to collaborate with someone. This is the nature of Venus, to network with someone that can help us fulfill in an easy way, which is Venus, our social, economic, financial goals, because Aquarius is also a very financial sign, because it rules gains, you know. But also if you're someone that works with big groups of people, that can be very good time for you, Venus Aphrodite. There can be more agreement between those groups of people. If you're someone like me that sends a message to thousands of people out there, this is very Aquarius. Aquarius rules big group society, you know, bringing knowledge as well. Aquarius is bringing knowledge. So Venus will facilitate all such processes. So if you're someone who organizes parties, or someone who organizes, you know, social gatherings, or someone who organizes something to do with charity events, you know, someone who is much, and social life will definitely improve. Venus becoming visible in Aquarius. Aquarius rules friendships, social life. There might be the healing of quite a few friendships that is happening now in February that you notice, or creation of new, because Venus is being reborn, so something new is coming, of some new friendships and acquaintances that can be mutually beneficial for both of you. So stay tuned for the universal. Everyone can tap into that energy, you know. If you set your mind, if you want to be more socially connected, if you want to be more socially gainful, if you want to join certain groups with agenda, with like-minded ideas, if you want to feel uplifted by a group and helped by a group, now is the time, actually till October, but starting in February, something important can happen, because Venus is in that phase. And people are more understanding, more compromised, especially in big group environments. Okay, so now let's walk you through how it's going to affect each sign, very likely, but do check it from your ascendant. The ascendant is the physical body, guys, and what is kind of most tangible that happens to us, what is most set in stone, while the sun sign is more to do with our goals and our conscious creative intelligence. So it's more connected sometimes with career, and it's more connected with free will. So the prognosis from the sun is kind of, you have more ability to maneuver there and to influence it consciously with your free choices. While and men usually tend to identify a lot with the prediction from the sun, and women also that are chasing careers and goals and stuff like that, that are more masculine and active. But all women should check also their prediction from the moon sign, because the moon sign is the, you know, the feminine planet. Women are ruled by the moon. Our inner world is very important if you're a woman. But always start with the ascendant, then check the sun, the moon, or both if you can. So let's see. Aries, for Aries, Aquarius falls in the 11th house. So Venus becoming visible there can signify a period, especially this week and a week after that, and then with results that end, that last till this phase of Venus lasts, which is till October, November, that certain new friendships appear. Venus is being reborn, that there is more, especially from some woman, female friendships that can help you. 11th house rules friendships, that for you as an Aquarius rising or Aquarius sun or moon to a lesser degree, new friendships and new acquaintances that are beneficial can appear, because Aquarius is in your 11th house, Venus rising there. Something you can benefit from, some group activity. You can become more popular and more even famous. If you're someone that appears in front of big groups of people, you can gain the popularity, because Venus rules popularity and love of large groups of people. Then the next 7-8 months will be very auspicious for that. Especially you'll see the first developments, or the first kind of, let's say, inklings of how it's going to develop over the next 2 weeks. Also, there can be the healing of a relationship with a friend, or new friendship that comes, help and support from a mentor that is female, very likely, or very loving mentor, someone that likes you, that approaches you in some way. Facilitation and improvement of friendships. Sorry. And 11th house rules your socioeconomic goals, so they can be more gainful 2 weeks after that, and the period after that generally. More gainful in the sense that you can attract also people more following. The 11th house also rules following, and Aquarius, they're following or a large support of a large support and appreciation of large group of society as generally, because the 11th house is the love you receive from others, or the appreciation or the acknowledgement you receive from others. So there can be some bonus, some appreciation for something you've done, some reward for something you've done, you know, that the society or other people appreciate in you, and you receive back from them. And they can be improvement of your gains overall as well, and your popularity. Okay, if you're Taurus, Venus becomes visible, and it's born to facilitate and to help you with your career in your 10th house. Taurus ascendant, especially Taurus sun, moon. So there might be some positive development in regards to your career. There might be more support, because Venus is a planet of support and collaboration in your career. Maybe your boss or some institution can look more kindly towards you, towards your agenda, towards your requests. So I would even advise you, if you want, over the next week or two, if you want to approach an authority figure or boss figure, they would look kinder on you. And you do it because Venus is becoming visible, you do it. She will grace you with her love. So some authority figure, boss figure, father figure, institution can help you if you approach them. You can see positive results if you've approached them before and you haven't heard from them. Now they can, you know, now there can be some positive development there, or there might be some positive development generally in your career, that you see some, if there was some complication, something difficult, that this is eased and facilitated by Venus. And I forgot to mention, if you're Taurus, this will definitely affect you very strongly, because Venus rules you. Who does Venus rule also? All women, as I said, especially younger women. Taurus and Libra people, Taurus and Moon or Ascendant will definitely feel it more. And people who have Venus as Al-Mutan, which means the ruler of the whole horoscope, or as a soul planet, which means if Venus is the planet with the highest degree in their horoscope, but you only look at the 7 visible planets, Sun, Moon, Saturn, Mars, Jupiter, Mercury, and Venus. Those 7 planets, and for example, for me, Venus is my soul planet, the planet with the highest degree. So when you have Venus as the planet with the highest degree, it becomes extremely important in your horoscope, because it's a soul planet. It is the planet that has traveled the most path. The highest degree is basically the wisest. You've spent most time in between lives before you were born in the spheres of Venus, in the influence of Venus, because she's like the captain, the top degree, basically. So people ruled by Venus, like my soul planet is Venus. If Venus is your highest degree, definitely they'll see so much more improvements. Generally, women overall, generally Libras and Tauruses overall that are ruled by Venus will definitely feel improvement in their life, generally overall, in their mood, in their health, you know. So for Taurus, as I said, career, achievements, some partnership is possible in collaboration, which helps your social status or your reputation or your career goal as well to transpire over the next 2 weeks, and to even have influenced you, you know, for a long period ahead. And also the 10th house is social status, and it is connected to marriage, because social status changes one's marriage. If you want to get married, and if you're Taurus, Venus becoming visible in your 10th house, or to get engaged or something like that, that will change your social status, or create some partnerships that will change your social status and impact your reputation and your public image, it can happen now, and now is the time. If you're Gemini, Venus becomes visible in your 9th house. So you can receive some support and help with matters of higher education. Things can become easier. Some problem can be resolved. Matters of higher education, of traveling, of receiving documents for residence in foreign country. For traveling to foreign countries, you might have been planning and wanting to travel somewhere and you couldn't, and now Venus becomes visible and makes this process very easy and very enjoyable. If you're traveling somewhere to a foreign country, if you're taking some university class or something, it can feel or some kind of pre-qualifying course. It can be a great blessing that even brings more wealth and abundance for you in the coming periods. It can even bring love, traveling to a foreign country. Love can be born in faraway places, the ninth house. So love can be born in university environments or academic environments, or big love of yours can be born towards some higher knowledge. I've seen that once I've looked back at previous Venus, when Venus became visible in my ninth house, this is when, together with Jupiter transiting there, so both, I don't know which one was, but this is when I discovered astrology and I started loving. Love is born, Venus is born in regards to ninth house, higher knowledge, which rules astrology, which rules divinity and theology and philosophy, and so maybe I discovered also Abraham Hicks then, which really transformed, kind of brought a lot of peace, because Venus is the planet of peace within myself, within my soul. So maybe you can incorporate some belief systems that create more, can be born now, or some new understanding of reality and some new belief or higher, or how do I say, perspective, because the ninth house is about the higher picture, that makes life look more friendly, that makes life look more loving, that more looking at life and at the higher picture and at the future, because the ninth house is connected with our future plans and goals as well, making them look more welcoming, more loving, and also can make us more idealistic and, and as I said, more giving for some kind of, the ninth house is connected to ideology and high causes. So maybe more giving because of our belief systems are changing and being reborn, and some new idea. Ninth house is full of new ideas because this is the inspiration from God. And when Venus becomes visible, you can kind of incorporate with loving kindness new inspirations from divine sources. They might come in the source of a friend telling you something or reading something, it doesn't matter. But Venus, becoming visible there, you can manifest those things. And also you can make money, which is Venus, from teaching better. You can make more money from teaching, or you can make more money from anything to with from traveling, ninth house, from working with foreign companies, countries. Or you can make more money from some kind of higher knowledge or pre-qualifying that might be happening over the next 2 weeks, and have influence for a long time. Then if you're Cancer, Venus becomes visible in your 8th house. Maybe you can receive money from others. Maybe you can receive some, if there were some complications, say in the income of your partner or spouse or business partner, or maybe you are not getting money from clients that you are expecting, 8th houses, other people's resources. Now Venus becomes visible and brings you a gift there, brings you a gift through resources, other people's resources, maybe support from others, even if it's not money that is owed to you from before, or if there were some complications that were connected to a loan, that was connected to getting money from a bank, that was connected to getting, support from husband, or, alimony or something. Now Venus can, or, expecting something from a court case from another person. Venus becoming visible in your 8th house can be a great omen that things will be resolving there and getting easy, and you can receive something back. Or you can just receive a present from someone. Or you can just receive, Venus is connected to beautiful things, but Venus can also be a moral support that makes you, from a friend or from people that, Aquarius rules, people that are well-intentioned towards you. And you can receive some support that comes to you. So ask for support. Now when Venus is becoming visible in your 7th house, ask and you will receive. And also some kind of if you had some kind of paranoias and fears, the 8th house can be indicative of some kind of conditions that overpowers psychologically. Venus becoming visible there can bring more healing influence, and you're releasing some of those more intense, let's say, fearful feelings, more intense inner power struggles of some sort. Okay, then Venus becomes for Cancer, so it's Leo. For Leo, Venus becomes visible in their 7th house. I'm Leo moon, so If there was some difficulties in your relationships because Venus was invisible, now Venus can improve your relationships, because it becomes visible and can grant you a gift or a wish, or make something easy in your seventh house. Seventh house is your love life, your relationships, your marriage life. Your partner can become more giving. You can become more giving and positively and kindly and compromisingly predisposed towards partnerships of any sort, and because of that, these improve. And also some relentless partner or something can become kinder and decide to make a compromise for you, and they can be birth of new love as well, or rebirth of love, and especially love that is kinder, gentler, more feminine. Or a business contract can happen now that has been delayed, or a business contract that, or new partnership can start forming now that is very beneficial. That also partnerships that start now, because Venus is in Aquarius, can be very much based on friendships, mutual goals, mutual financial achievements together in the future as well. So business and personal relationships, something good can happen there, some resolution or new beginning that is facilitates, that is easier, that is pleasant. Okay, and that manifests relationships. And help from others again. If you are Virgo, Venus becomes visible in your sixth house. So something facilitates something in regards to your work. Sixth house is work. Sixth house is your daily duties and responsibilities. Even if you're not employed in a company, you might be a housewife that has to do, this and that things. And now Venus makes it more pleasant. Venus can, if there was something that was more complicated and that needed to be fixed, Venus can make it easy. Say maybe you needed to fix something in your, if there was some problem in your office or your work or at home, because sixth house rules problems, and generally problems, especially more technical ones that are connected with order, organization, with resolving, doing some work there. Venus can make it more enjoyable process, help you solve such problem. And also sixth house in ancient astrology rules enmities. Some enmity with someone, some fight you've been having, Venus can heal it there when it becomes visible in the sixth house. But sixth house is also work project, so maybe there will be some help coming to you if you're working on something, maybe the improvement of the your office environment, the improvement if there was some difficult, or maybe something positive like you're receiving a new job, or you're receiving some more gains because Venus is planet of money through some work that you're doing. That will be the best manifestation, of course. Or you can mean that you receive some kind of help in some work that you're doing, in some project that you're doing, or if there was some disharmonious environment around you, Venus in the sixth house, especially in your office, in your work environment, Venus can help improve that. Also, it can help improve some health pain, because sixth house is the house of pains and health problems and aches. So some physical pain, Venus can bring some healing or alleviation. Is that the word? Relief, because Venus is the planet of relief there. Okay, then if you're Libra, Venus is in your fifth house and becomes visible there. Well, it can be the birth of new love. Fifth house is you falling in love. The fifth house is us giving love. 11th house is us receiving love, but it might be the birth of a new love. It might over the next few months, but especially the next 2 weeks, because at least you get the inkling of what it might be, over the next 2 weeks. But the birth also of new passion in your life, the birth of a new something that you really love and you're passionate about, that invigorates you, make you feel alive, makes you feel that life is joyful, because the fifth house is the house of joy and pleasure from life, the childlike joy that children feel of life, and Venus can reconnect us with this. And actually, in ancient astrology, Venus rejoices in the fifth house. So when it's being born in your fifth house, new things are going to get born for you over the next 7, 8 months, 6, 7, 8 months. Yeah, 8 months actually. Over the next 8, 9 months, sorry, what am I talking about? New fifth house things are going to be born in a pleasant, loving way in the fifth house, like you falling, it can be falling in love, it can be child as well, opportunity for a child, it can be something positive and improvement in the life of your children. It can be some new hobby or passion of yours that brings you newfound joy from life as well, and some new kind of having fun. The fifth house that is joyful, that empowers you, that brings you more self-confidence, and also some new self-expression, because the fifth house is self-expression that feels more like your true self, because the fifth house is our true self, our heart center, our doing something that is true to our talents, because the 11th house rules our creative talents. And when we do something that's aligned with our creative talents, we feel most confident, most self-esteem, we feel most joy from life. So this fifth house is amazing, you know, when it gets triggered. So something you can discover starting from this week and over the next few months, that, you know, that is being born, that brings you to alignment in a smooth, harmonious way with what your what your purpose is. Let's say with your natural talents. So you do something that brings joy to your life as well. It can be a small thing that you incorporate in your life, but still it's the birth of it. And not only that, it can be the birth, as I said, something connected with love and loving something, and learning to be more creative. Some new creative hobby or some new creative idea can be born now. It's fantastic for people that are performance or in creative, or who have their own business. They have to use their creative intelligence as well, because something new is being born there and it's brewing. Or if you're going to be having children, something, you know, is the birth of a new child as well, if it's the birth of a new love through child. Okay, and that's my husband, so very true for him. Libra ascendant. So if you're a Scorpio, Venus is being reborn in your fourth house. So new beginnings in a loving, kind, gentle way in your family. If there might be the healing of some family wound or some complication there. There might be the birth of more love towards your mom. It might be the rebirth and the return of more love between and more understanding between members of your family. If there was some, you know, enmity or difficulties, now Venus there can grace you with more understanding and love. Or there can be the birth, or there might be the gains, because Venus, as I said, also rules money, through some kind of property or real estate deal, or something to do with relocation or movement, that this process is facilitated, made easier, that you feel like you belong more, that you feel more, that you find the place, the birth of a place that you feel like you belong in, that you feel you connect to on an emotional level as well, that you feel like home. Or maybe it might be the birth of a new idea to renovate your home as a Scorpio, you know, to renovate your home, to make it more beautiful. Venus is the planet of art, of beauty, of beautifying things, of decorating. So you might be like, yeah, I can finally start decorating my home. Or over the next 7-8 months, you might do something that really kind of makes it more pleasant, more enjoyable environment. It's also the birth of more inner happiness, because the fourth house rules naturally happiness, and you kind of feel like emotional healing happening, and you the goddess is being born in the house of your emotional needs. So you become more attentive to your emotional needs, and you incorporate more lovingness in your everyday feelings, because the fourth house rules our feelings, how we feel on a daily level. And Venus there, we can just start feeling more graceful, more loving, more caring. Plus, it might be the birth of, as I said, new properties, or something connected to place of living, with family, maybe a new member, also family, but also the birth of it's fourth house is parenthood. So maybe if there's some complication there can be improvements, or it's also taking care of others and of ourselves and our emotional needs as well. Or also, you know, if, for example, you are not aware of your emotional needs, or you are sacrificing them, because when Venus is invisible, we tend to sacrifice things. So generally, if you've been sacrificing emotional needs for yourself, Venus now becoming visible in your fourth house, And being reborn there can give you more self-love to recognize your emotional needs and heal and the needs of those you care for, and to give more love there as a parent, as a nurturer, as a home builder, family builder. Okay, if you're Sagittarius, Venus becomes visible in your third house, which is maybe more love. You can start feeling more love for the next 8 months, or especially the next 2 weeks, towards siblings, improvement of relationships with coworkers, teammates, people that you work in a small group environment, schoolmates of some sort, maybe some good collaboration, because the third house rules our associates, people we can collaborate with on some, in a small group environment, on some project, commercial or business or whatever, or school project or whatever. So there can be more agreement between members of such groups, and it can help to a much more harmonious environment in such small group environments. And as I said, something can be born, new such collaboration or association can be born as well when Venus is born in your third house. The love of new skills of some sort can be born as well, especially skills that can bring, because third house rules the skills and the things we learn that we can apply in a practical way after that, whether it's in our career or whatever, to make us self-made wealth. Third house, the house of self-made wealth, and Venus is connected to money. Third house also skills, so some kind of skills we can develop, love, or there can be the birth of a new love and interest towards new skills that we can develop that can be even financially beneficial to us. You might be like how to do videos, how to write, how to use a software, how to build a website, doesn't matter, some skills, or how to learn a language or something like that, that can be, and if we've been having difficulties with learning something, Venus becoming visible there can definitely help us, or also can help us for some short journeys as well, matters connected to business, commercial activities as well, and to communications. Someone who wants to write a book, Venus now can bring more inspiration when it becomes visible in the third house. Someone who has to speak, to write, to communicate, if Venus becomes visible in the third house, it's a great time to do it over the next 2 weeks. And some kind of, as I said, new interests and new skills are going to be developing for you over the next 9 months as well, that you would enjoy, that you would love, and that can be materially, financially beneficial for you. Then Venus is becoming visible for Capricorn in their second house. Well, that's very, second house is connected to resources and money, and Venus is naturally the planet of resources and money. So maybe if you have had some financial problems, Capricorns, now Venus can bring you something. It might be something small, you know, it might be just like, something beautiful that you can afford to buy, or it might be just more stabilization for you financially. And actually, you can even be feeling more giving with your resources and money, but you feel like more ease and more gentle energy coming in anything to do with financial security, material security, maybe the birth of new ideas, because Venus is being reborn in your second house, that will bring more financial stability, or for new opportunities that over the next 8-9 months will bring some more financial healing and stability for you. And also it can be just like getting nice clothes and more sensual pleasures of any sort, when the second house rules all those things, and self-pampering of some sort, you know, on the physical level that Venus in the second house rebirths. And if you want to buy beautiful clothes, shoes, whatever, possessions, or if you want to make some, it might be some new investments that you want to do, this is a great time to do it. If you want to invest money somewhere, Venus will kind of becoming visible in your second house will help you do it in a smooth, easy way that guarantees more financial return, especially if your ascendant is in Capricorn. And then for Aquarius, Venus becomes visible, of course, in your sign, especially if you're later born Aquarius, you know, if you're January Aquarians, February Aquarians, towards the end, you know, from the 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, Venus becomes visible on your sun, you know, Or doesn't matter if you're Aquarius, Venus becomes visible in your sign. So that's very empowering for you. I'm Aquarius ascendant, even though I'm the early degrees, but I'll still feel it. It's almost like your own rebirth happening, but the rebirth of your own self-love. You might start feeling more attractive, more energy can come to you physically, because Venus is the planet of vitality. Venus is the planet of regeneration and healing. So they can be even on the physical level or psychological or emotional level, depending whether it's your ascendant, sun or moon. They can be the birth of new ideas. They can be the birth of new inspirations in your life, the birth of more beauty and harmony, the birth of love as well, because Venus naturally rules love, the birth of more graciousness in your life, and just more. And somehow, Aquarius, for you, the next 9 months, because Venus was born in your sign, will be under the influence of Venus, under the influence of the goddess of love, the goddess of money, the goddess of pleasures. So for us, Aquarius, even if we're going to be having difficult transit, yes, everyone, yes, you might be Aquarius ascendant, but you might have your moon in Capricorn, so Saturn is transiting there and smashing you, or you might have, sun in, in Libra, and Uranus is opposing, whatever. Everyone is having difficult transits all the time. But because Venus is being born in your sign, Aquarius, somehow you are protected from the goddess of love. How you attract good things in your life is that you become more magnetic over the next 9 months, especially the next 2 weeks. More popular, magnetic. This is Venus, especially Venus in its feminine form, that is loving, that is kind, that is feminine, that is that attracts, not by going after something, that gets what it wants, because Venus is the planet of getting what we want, not by going after something, but by magnetically attracting it. So by you become more compromising, more loving. As I said, you might get this kind of feeling like being more generous and loving, just like after the second glass of wine, that you're you're just more kind to everyone and more forgiving. But because of those qualities of more graciousness that are being born in you now, you can attract a lot of Venusian things, which is pleasant experiences, love, more partnerships, partnerships that bring more popularity, that bring more gains, that bring love as well, and appreciation. And because you start appreciating yourself more and loving yourself more, it's in the first house. Because you're doing kind, you're going to start doing more kind activities towards yourself and generally towards life. You are going to receive back, and anything to do if you're trying to, to improve yourself physically. So it might be good for any kind of plastic surgeries if you want to do Venus, or if you want to make yourself more beautiful, to pamper yourself. I'm going for a massage. I haven't done that in a year. But doing something loving and pampering for yourself. And I would encourage you, especially if you're Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, to do some ritual with Venus around the 7th till the 9th of February. Do some ritual by in the evening when Venus is setting. When the sun is setting, Venus becomes visible, and it's being born around the 7th to the 9th of February. Do a small ritual of some sort. Put on Venus stones, diamonds of Venus stones. I put on mine to honor Venus with this video. If you don't have diamonds, rose quartz. Hold a nice piece of rose quartz. And if you want love or anything more Venusian in your life, which is more beauty, more self-love, more money, more popularity, more kindness, more forgiveness, more sense of joy. And it's not like kind of, oh, I'm joyful, but more like I'm peaceful. I feel nothing bothers me. Nothing is, this kind of serenity and peace that Venus gives. And a lot of self-love and self-esteem. Venus also is our self-worth. If you don't have those, if you want to strengthen them, do this ritual, Aquarius. And for everyone else, I know you're probably not watching. Everyone else is not watching the whole video for the 12 signs, but do this little ritual if you can, when Venus in the evening, when the sun is setting, when Venus becomes visible, the 7th till the 9th, 10th, 7, 8, 9, 10th, those days. take things that Venus rules, dress up in a color that's Venus ruled, pink, or Venus rules pink, one of the colors, stones of Venus as well, and make a prayer and invite the goddess Venus to be born with love into your life. Anyway, if you're Pisces, Venus becomes visible in your 12th house. So it's the birth of 12th house, is the birth of spirituality, maybe even for you. It might be some deep spiritual realizations that is happening, or some hidden support that comes to you, or the birth of a private love relationship, of secret feelings that you're not officially addressing. But also 12th house is a very spiritual and very creative house of the imagination. There might be the birth of imagination. There might be the birth of a new creative, imaginative idea as well. And it might be the birth or the improvement of some hidden things that are happening. And Venus will illuminate something hidden because it brings its light to your 12th house, something hidden, something that you are not aware of. And 12th house is the house where we hold a lot of past karma and past blockages, and Venus can be some healing process that almost like the birth of an act of self-love towards yourself, that you release yourself, that Venus helps you release from yourself some harmful habit that you have, because the 12th house, the house of self-undoing, self-sabotaging ourselves without us knowing why, because it stems from our past lifetimes or from deep psychological things that we've buried. And Venus can help heal that, very healing influence. In Vedic astrology, Venus feels very happy in the 12th house. And when it's becoming visible there, it can also be, can bring some private pleasures, the joy for some private pleasures. It might be like luxurious holiday. 12th house is connected to holidays. It's connected to traveling to faraway places. So maybe over the next 2-3 weeks, so even after that 9 months, this influence stays, you might have access to more such enjoyable private activities like retreats, spiritual retreats, traveling to faraway country, hotels, enjoying some spiritual practice of some sort, or some private pleasures. A lot of, in Vedic astrology, Venus in the 12th house is bed pleasures. Wink, wink, So maybe that's the birth of more bed pleasures from you, or more 12th house is the house of relaxation. So more enjoyable relaxation, opportunity for more enjoyable relaxations, like going on a holiday or far away or something like that. Or the birth of some new spiritual practice of some sort, or understanding. But I want to finish now for all the 12 signs. I mentioned it for Aquarius, but all the 12 signs, fantastic time if you want to invite the goddess of love into your life. Do a ritual when the sun is setting on the 7th till the 9th, 10th, of February. When the sun is setting, surround yourself with a few objects that represent Venus. Might be a pink candle, might be a rosy quartz crystal. Put on your diamonds if you have any diamonds, Venus rules diamonds. Put on colors of Venus, which is pink. Not too sweet pink, but it's especially Venus as a love, the goddess of love, Aphrodite. Also put maybe a painting of Venus being reborn from Botticelli or whoever it was. The birth of Venus represents the birth of Aphrodite, is exactly this astrological event of Venus becoming visible from the ocean. When the sun is setting, we see Venus becoming, rising and being reborn. Take a little picture of that, and then make a little ritual and a prayer. I'm Christian myself, so I would pray to Goddess Virgin Mary, so it doesn't matter what it is, but you might be connecting to a higher feminine energy and invite love into your life, invite compromise, partnerships, more money, all those things that Venus, and more self-love that Venus represents. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you for bearing with me. I'm preparing your March videos slowly, day by day. I hope you, because I'm not sure I'll be able to record in March after that. when little Mila comes, with God's help. And so what, yeah, so just stay tuned. My videos for March are coming very soon. I didn't have February videos because I wasn't feeling well. But yes, so enjoy Venus rising, Venus being reborn, the love coming back and understanding into our life. And I will see you next week. And please do check our webinar with Roman Kolev. He works, and we're going to be working very hard, 7 hours on Sunday. And it's fantastic knowledge. And part of this information that I gave you about Venus, it's from him, not part, most of it. It's from ancient texts that he's been translating. So you are going to get knowledge from the source, straight from a scholar who is working with ancient astrology, translating it. So thank you so much. And I look forward to having you at my webinars.